Hey guys, welcome back to the Daily Disciple channel. Today I want to tell you a little story about my first time sharing the gospel. Now to go back, I was 13 years old, and I had just gotten into watching the videos of Living Waters, Way the Master Ministry, about evangelism, right? So there were videos about evangelism, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna share the gospel with somebody. Did I have all the answers? No, not even close. I was 13 years old. I'd come to faith, at about 8 years old, and through that, I was just learning and processing and, asking lots of questions, and it was time. It was time to share the gospel with somebody, so I went to my basketball practice. 13 years old, local community center, and I had it in my mind that I was going to share the gospel with my friend Ryan. I knew my friend Ryan was not a Christian. Well, I mean, there were some signs, a lot of bad language, and some comments that, would make you question whether he was a Christian or not. I knew he wasn't a Christian. I knew he wasn't associated with any kind of, religion, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to him. So on our way back, I knew we had similar routes back home, and we would walk back. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna share the gospel with him on our way back home here. So I did that. So we get out of practice. He comes out. I start a conversation with him like I normally do, regular conversation. And then he asks me, do I go to church somewhere? And I was like, that's a weird question to ask out of somebody that, not associated with, Christianity or any kind of religion at all. It's like, yeah, I go to the church actually just down the way there. Is actually pretty close. And he was like, okay. And I just started the conversation. Now, this is where, I don't know, for me, it gets a little bit, I don't like sharing this story as much because it's kind of embarrassing. But, I was 13, so this is kind of how it went. I asked him, I wanted to ask him, do you believe yourself to be an atheist? Because I asked him, do you believe in God? He said, no. So are you an atheist? But what I actually said was, do you believe in God? He said, no. I said, are you an atheist? So 13 years old, asking somebody if they're an atheist. Well, I don't know what an atheist is at my age here. I don't know what that is. But I don't think either of us really knew what we were talking about. But nevertheless, he kind of moved on. He's like, I don't think I'm an atheist. So I was like, okay, are you an agnostic? That word I actually knew. And then we kind of moved in. I ended up sharing the gospel with him. But even that little thing, it could discourage me from sharing the gospel again. Literally, I didn't know I said that wrong till a couple weeks later when I said it at the dining room table. My family, my older brother and sister, they were like, what are you saying? I was like, what? I'm just, being my smart self. That's not the word. Oh, man, I was embarrassed. But you know what? That's okay. Okay, today I want to give you 3 little advice tips in your evangelism yourself, because like I said, my first evangelism experience was at 13, and it didn't go the greatest. It went okay, but there was embarrassing moments there, but that's okay. We're doing that. We're fulfilling the Great Commission. So 3 tips. First one is ask questions. Ask lots of questions. I see people going up to strangers trying to share the gospel with them, and they say, they give them a proposition like, hey, can I tell you something? Most people are going to be like, I don't really want you telling me something. But what people will want to do, most likely the probability is higher, is if you say, hey, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in God? Hey, are you associated with the church somewhere here? Hey, according to the ministry and that I was talking about earlier, Way the Master, they teach you to say, would you consider yourself to be a good person? And that kind of gets into, we're not good people, but we need the saving grace of Jesus, right? So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is it's okay to be nervous, but hone that nervousness into energy and excitement in sharing the gospel with people. So sometimes we can let our, anxiety and, the fact that we're scared kind of cripple us and draw us back into ourselves. But we ought to let it excite us for the possibility of God using us in this. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is simply this: go and do it. And once you do it, bring someone along with you and kind of debrief afterwards. Ask them, hey, what did I say here? Oh, what what can I do better? You know, get that criticism, get that constructive criticism from somebody that cares about you and wants to help you be more, effective in what you're doing and what you're saying. And that little thing, that'll help you, because sometimes when you go out by yourself, you say something, they kind of like, oh, I don't want any of that, and sometimes it can get a little bit confusing on what you actually did. So bringing somebody along can help you out in that. That's my encouragement for you guys today. I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and if you have any interesting stories of you sharing the gospel, I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. I hope to do more videos about evangelism. I thought I'd throw a story in here, a couple tips. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.